Hey guys, what's up? It's Frank here with Royal Pools and More, and welcome back to another video of our pool equipment pad overview. Today we're going to be talking about filters, in particular, cartridge filter. Before we get started, as always, if you can hit that like, share, and subscribe button, we would greatly appreciate it here at Royal Pools and More. All right, filters. First thing to remember is we're only going over one style of filter here, and that is the cartridge filter today. It's pretty popular in the Midwest, but there are also two other styles of filters, being the sand filter and the DE filter, which we'll cover in another video. But today, we're gonna go over the cartridge filter, what it does, which is essentially catches solid debris, how to actually take out the cartridges and clean it, and how to put it all back together here. So guys, what right here is we have the C3030 from Hayward. And when you want to clean this filter, the best thing you want to do here is there's a pressure gauge set on the side here, and there's a green arrow for good and a red arrow means bad. In this case, this filter, when the pump is idled, the good pressure starts around 10 PSI. As the filter gets dirtier, the black needle will go up. The closer it gets to 20 on this pressure gauge, that means you need to clean your cartridge filters. So when this equipment pad hits around 15 PSI, I would recommend cleaning your cartridge filters. So the first thing that you need when you actually clean a cartridge is a socket set. In this case, this C3030 takes a, let me see here, 3/4 inch socket. So again, every time you touch any of the equipment on the pad, you're gonna wanna shut the pump off. The pump is off. We have the bleeder valve here, which remember from the earlier videos, as you open it, it's gonna let air in, dropping the water. Why is that so important when it comes to a filter? If I take this band off and I have this chamber collapse, the water's gonna stay up to the top. It's gonna create a suction here. And when you do finally get it loose, it's gonna drench your feet. Although you might be in flip-flops, I'm in gym shoes today, so we're gonna let the water drop down below here. So you're gonna put your 3/4 inch socket on here. Put your finger on this side here, give it a little bite. It does come off pretty easy. It's essentially a two-piece nut and bolt set. You're gonna wanna put these aside. Believe it or not, these are very expensive parts, so let's put them up here on the sill. We're pretty much done with the socket set. What you're gonna wanna do is you can actually use the socket here to kind of pop the band off. The other tool you're gonna need is a rubber mallet. You can use the palm of your hand, but you're gonna wanna tap it off here, tap the band off there. You're done with the rubber mallet for now. Rest the band aside, and you're gonna wanna pop the lid off. Place the lid somewhere on the side here. It is made out of a heavy-duty polymer. You don't want to chuck these things though, they're very expensive. And what you have what is, the 4 filters are in here. You have a big O-ring here that has got a metal gasket in there for rigidity. And then you have the manifold. The first thing that's gonna come off here is the manifold. This can be the trickiest part of cleaning the filter. You're gonna wanna shimmy it off. This is a fairly new system, so it's coming off pretty easy. Making sure everything's intact, nothing's cracked. Place this aside, I like to put it on top of the heater. The first thing you want to check here, there's a little O-ring on what's called the standpipe here. Make sure this O-ring's in good condition. If you want to take some Vaseline or some magic lube from Aladdin, you want to keep this thing nice and moist so it doesn't dry rot on you. So the C3030 has 4 cartridges inside here. They come right out, one by one. As you can see here, the filters are pretty dirty. So what we're going to do is essentially set them in the grass. We're going to turn the garden hose on, and I'm going to show you guys how to wash them. Ready? All right, guys, so we got all 4 cartridge filters out. The key thing to remember when you're actually washing a cartridge filter is you're gonna wanna use a high pressure hose. If you're on a well, maybe you have some lower pressure, you're gonna wanna use a low pressure power washer. Don't use that 0 tip, the one that comes out like a laser. But what you're gonna do is set your sprayer on nozzle, turn it on. You're gonna get wet here, so if you wanna stand behind the filter where it's downhill, which is the yard sloping this way, I like to squat down, stand the filter up here, see if we can get a good angle here. Turn it on, And you're essentially just gonna hose all the way around. You can see the debris coming off here. I'm gonna go down here so you can see that. You're gonna wanna take your time and really get it clean. Just kind of work your way. I like to do it in section, top section, then the middle sections, but come on through, take your time, spin it, just keeping, working your way around. You're gonna need about 20 to 30 minutes to do this, so I'll be right back after I clean all 4 of these filters. All right guys, we got all the cartridges back cleaned over here. I brought them back to the equipment pad here. You can see they're a lot cleaner. The important thing is they're never gonna go back to the bright white color that they were initially. It's unfortunate, but if you do wanna give these a deeper clean, you can go get a filter degreaser. You can soak them in a little bit of muriatic acid mixture. Those soaks usually involve at least half a day to a day or so. What it does is it breaks some of the organics down, gets them out of the pleats. But today we just did a quick rinsing. That's basic maintenance. As far as these 4 cartridge system goes, you're gonna wanna at least clean it, I don't know, once a month. If you have a smaller pool, you can go every 2-3 months. Basic maintenance packages include once a year, so you might wanna just double check that with your pool company. But this system I would recommend once a month. This pool is pretty small. I mean, it's 15,000 to 18,000 gallons, so you can probably get away with every 2 months, but the better you take care of these, the better they're gonna take care of you. So let's pick them here. Let's put them all back inside. So on the bottom of this actual chamber here, there's a bottom manifold. It only goes on one way. It has a saddle here that goes around that standpipe that I pointed out here. So strap it around the standpipe, drop it to the bottom. By the way, the water that's in here, if it's really dirty, you can drain it. It's not too bad today, but we're not gonna drain it, but there's a drain plug on every single filter. So today, we're not gonna do that. It's not too bad. So each of these filters goes right back on the stand. Push the stand down, push the filter down in place. I like to do them on the diagonal from each other. I like to do them on the diagonal from each other, kind of like an X pattern. That way it allows that bottom manifold piece to go on. So basically you're just gonna set them, press them in, and it kind of locks itself in. All right, and the last thing I want to show you guys is I brought up this O-ring here. Hayward does a really nice job of sandwiching a metal piece in here. It's pretty firm. You want to get all the grit off of it. So we're just going to take it over here, change it to like an angled spray, something you can get a quick rinse, get all that dirt and grime off, place that back on. Get your top manifold. There's a screen up here. Make sure it's clean. It is pretty clean of debris. There's a little cottonwood up here. Again, it only goes on one way. 4 filters and the standpipe. Line them back up. Making sure the standpipe is lined up. You don't want to crack that pipe. You want to make sure you can press down firmly. Now, as far as the lid goes, you can put it on any way you want. Obviously, it's round. I like the pressure gauge as opposed to facing this way as it was before. Face it forward, just easier for you. We're basically going to come around here, press down, grab our band clamp, press it in a little bit. I like to take my rubber mallet, give it a couple quick taps, closing the band as best you can. Come back with our nut and bolt. Get it hand tightened first. Hayward does allow you to use a torque wrench. Not saying that I shouldn't. I do have a little bit more experience with these. It does allow for a certain torque on there. It's signified on the sticker and sometimes on the band, which this one does have the band here. So if you do have a torque wrench, if you're familiar with those, you can get them AutoZone, Home Depot, stuff like that. You can set the torque, and the torque wrench will actually stop when the torque is proper. That way you're not putting too much pressure on these bands. These bands are pretty expensive. But you're gonna come in here, putting a little pressure on the back end here so it doesn't spin. Hopefully you don't have to get another wrench to hold it. Being familiar with these systems, the gap is about a ½ inch here. I can fit my pinky or even my index finger right in here. If you have to go a little tighter, you can. Just be sure not to put too much pressure. Again, the safe bet is to follow the torque. The goal is to make sure we're not leaking any water. Pressure release valve closed, and you're ready to start your pump back up. Pump's back on. Bleeder valve is closed. I do like to let it build a little bit. It's working the air through the system. What we're gonna do is bleed the air out, making sure that we don't spray too much because we do want to inspect for leaks. You don't have to crack this fully, by the way. You can just do a little crack and let it go slow. A lot of people like to let it rip. Water flies everywhere, then you can't tell for another half hour if your band is leaking or not. There you go. Shut it off, kind of throw the water out. See how the water drips down here? If water gets all the way around this, you're not gonna be able to tell if it's leaking. So you wanna do a thorough inspection here. This is the water that just flew from the top here. That's what's dripping. Thorough inspection. Make sure nothing is leaking. And there you have it, guys. Again, cartridge filters are only one of 3 styles of filters. Today we went over how to clean them, what their main purpose is, which is to catch solid debris and basic maintenance for these things. You take care of these filters and they will take care of you. We do recommend a deep cleaning probably once a year. Any pool company that closes your pool should clean them at the end of the season as well. But the more you clean them, the better you are. So there you go, guys. An in-depth look at our equipment pad, in particular filters in this case. So if you guys can check us out at our learning center at royalpoolsandmore.com, visit our YouTube channel or any of our social networks, we'd greatly appreciate it. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next time.